guys? Welcome back to the Training Camp Podcast.
The Training Camp Podcast.
I got a new chair.
With a multitude of guests.
Can't say he's wrong, am I right?
Oh, yeah. Dolphins.
No, I really like.
Stupid games.
5-0 last week. That's right. 5-0. Dak Prescott. You could lock up that 4 seed.
Again, it's not blazing hot, 65 degrees. I'm going to do this for fun.
They threw to Michael Thomas. The Heat. How? Chicago. Yes, you guys get an F.
And a little too much personality.
No.
Last week.
No, Ravens?
Oh, fuck. Give me that.
No way. There's no way. Hammering. Free. Really do not talk about him.
This one's my fault.
Flex the game. Here we go.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Training Camp Podcast. Different setup today. I'm just going to try some, we're going to be doing some changes. We're in the experimental phase of, our relationship right now. So, there might be like a bunch of just wild changes that either do or don't stick. But hey, we're still here. Last week was fun with Japes. Obviously, there was like no structure at all. So sorry about that. But, it was a good time. Always love having Japes on. So today we actually do have structure, and we're just gonna hop right into news of the week. Okay. So, number one, this has kind of been like the biggest thing. Oh, if you guys hear just like stuff happening in the background, like droplets and stuff like that. Yeah, it's currently snowing, so like the snow is also melting at the same time, so you'll hear that. Anyways, So Kyrie, that's like been the number one thing in this news cycle lately is Kyrie's comments and how he's approaching the whole vaccination thing. I've not really talked about the vaccine nor COVID really on the podcast since like last year, like genuinely 2020, or maybe it was the beginning of 2021. Mainly because somehow it became a political thing when it's not. It's a science thing. It's a virus. Vaccinations are a scientific subject, so honestly it shouldn't be a political issue, but that's the world we live in now. But I am going to give my comments on that, so if you guys want to skip over this, I completely understand. Kyrie, I'm going to be completely honest, man. I think what you're doing is really, really stupid. It's very ignorant, and I don't think you're viewing the position that you're in right now, and you're not realizing how much of an effect you have on people. I know that he's saying he wants to be a voice for the voiceless. So if you missed it, Kyrie Irving, point guard for the Nets, essentially is he has not confirmed nor denied that he's gotten the vaccination, but he's not allowed to practice with the Nets. He's also not allowed to play home games, which is because New York requires a vaccination if you're going to be going to events within the state. So it's kind of like, I'm not going to comment if I have the vaccine, but we know, Kyrie. And Kyrie's explanation for that was essentially, I want to be able to give a voice to the voiceless, which Rich Eisen said this damn well yesterday. They're not voiceless, for one. This shit, people who do not want the vaccine and people who are very against it, are not unvocal about it. So Kyrie, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about on that part. And second, I mean, like I was saying, you're on a platform, Kyrie. You have millions of kids who wear your jerseys every single day. Millions of kids who want to play just like you. And your words matter to them. And what you're doing is really irresponsible right now. But I mean, this isn't the first time that we've had controversies with Kyrie Irving, and that's going to kind of swing me into like the next part of this whole situation, which is honestly Brooklyn. If I'm your GM, I'm trading him. One, he can't play half of your games because he can't play in New York, but that also doesn't count for games against the Knicks, games against the Warriors, games against the Lakers, and games against the Clippers, because and the Kings as well, because California and New York are two of the states which require a vaccination if you're going to go out for events. So you're paying. So the Brooklyn GM is essentially paying Kyrie Irving $40 million a year to not even play half of the season. So yeah, I'm trading Kyrie's ass. I don't think Ben Simmons is like enough, but like if Ben Simmons is what you get out of it, then that's what you get out of it. But it's going to be hard because there's going to be a lot of teams in the same situation. Like, why would I accept a trade for Kyrie Irving when we're not going to get 82 games out of him? So it's a stupid situation. Like I said, I didn't want to touch on it too much just because somehow this shit has gotten political. But yeah, that's going to be the part of the podcast that gets me the dislikes. Nextly, NFL news. Russell Wilson will be out for 4 to 6 weeks, which means that the Steelers probably are going to lose this week, considering that means we should have an easy win. No, but in reality, Geno Smith looked good against a really good Rams defense, but obviously the Rams weren't preparing for Geno Smith. They were preparing for Russell Wilson, even though the two do have a very similar play style. So I think it could be worse for the Seahawks right now. I think it's going to get better because they will be getting Chris Carson back, not this week, but the week after. But yeah, no, these next 4 to 6 weeks are going to be kind of rough, especially because I'm sure there'll be a couple divisional games in there, and that division's the best in football. So we'll see what happens. This might honestly kind of be what pushes out Seattle from the playoffs. And Seattle might need to use this as a wake-up call. Also, me and JP are talking, and Seattle needs to fire Pete Carroll. Anyways, that's a story for another time. News number 3. Here we go. All right. This is going to be the other thing that gets this podcast disliked. But so if you don't want to hear about this, just fast forward later too. Jon Gruden resigned as the Raiders head coach. Yeah. Well, do you want me to say he didn't deserve, or like he shouldn't have, or he didn't deserve to have been fired if he didn't resign? Yeah, no. If you somehow are living under a rock, hundreds, if not thousands, of emails from Gruden that contained homophobic, transphobic, misogynistic, and racist commentary and just wordage were leaked and essentially discovered during an investigation with the Washington football team, which you guys are fucked now, Washington, because now they're going to be an investigation to 650,000 emails of your guys, so congratulations about that. But yeah, and so after everything that got released Sunday morning, right before the games started, like even the earliest games, I'm pretty sure this came out like an hour before the first games played. Yeah, Jon Gruden, after the next day, resigned. And yeah, Jon Gruden does not deserve to have a place in the NFL anymore. He does not have deserve to have a place within NFL media. He does not deserve jack shit, in my opinion. I know people are going to say differently, but I'm sorry, there's no place for that in this world. I know that the emails go as far back as 10 years ago, but they also go as recent as 3 years ago. And when you're 48 years old, which I believe Jon Gruden was 10 years ago, when you're 48, you're most likely not going to change as a person. When you're like a teenager in your 20s and like maybe your early 30s, like, okay, there's room to grow because everyone's a jackass in their teens, 20s, and 30s. When you're about to be 50, you are an established personality, and it's pretty damn impossible for you to have a change of heart. It's also really disgusting because the NFL is one of like the pioneers in, a majority of the league is African American, and the fact that he can somehow be around such a high populace of African American people and know these people almost as a family. And like when you're on a team, you are a family. So you know the ins and the outs of these people's lives, not just like their football lives, their personal lives. So you should be able to hear stories from all of your players and coaching staffs and like everyone that is within this organization, whatever organization you're a part of. You should be able to hear that and you think like, oh, that's another situation where I am where like Jon Gruden probably has not changed as a person. He's been around people like that for what? He's been in the league since the early 90s? Like, what are we doing, John? You had the opportunity to learn and go, take a step back and go, this is interesting. Or maybe I should change my opinion. But no, you stuck with it because you're an ignorant piece of shit. Also, the fact that he also had the first openly gay player, Carl Nassib, on his team. I can't imagine what he's going through right now. I can't imagine what Jon Gruden. I can't imagine what Carl Nassib is going through right now. because that's got to be a whirlwind of emotion and so much to take in. The Raiders as an organization, too, are probably, I'm sure a lot of the players could tell that this was Jon Gruden's personality, but I'm sure they're relieved. At the same time, though, this is going to be a mess of a situation for the Raiders for the entire year. I mean, honestly, Jon Gruden also left them with a really shitty roster. I mean, they have, 2 running backs getting so much money. They have no offensive line. Their wide receiver core is underachieving at best. And their defense has not been very good. So, I mean, it's hard to be in that situation right now, and I feel bad for those who did not know what was going on. Because it just, it's a shitty situation to be in. Yep, cool. Talking about the vaccine and Jon Gruden, this is going to be a well-received podcast. Thank God these do not get that many views. So, yeah, there's my thoughts on Jon Gruden. Next, okay, we're leaving every controversial thing behind now. Tua is a possible go for Sunday against the Jets. It's apparently a 50-50, according to head coach Brian Flores. Jacoby Brissett got hurt last game, too. So, you'd think that if Jacoby got hurt, they're probably not going to wheel out the third-string quarterback and just give it to Tua, because if Tua can't turn the season around, this has already looked like a lost season for the Dolphins, especially compared to how last season went for them. So if Tua can't turn this around, then I don't know what the Dolphins are going to do. So you might as well just throw him out there if he's good enough to go. And then the last 2 things for news of the week. These are podcast news. So the NFL tiers are now going to be a Instagram exclusive. Those will get posted every single week still. But I feel like sometimes there's other things that I can just talk about for a longer amount of time. Like the vaccine and Kyrie situation, as well as the Jon Gruden situation as well. And I feel like I was just rushing through the podcast for certain topics because I just had to I had to meet a certain length. And so I feel like NFL tiers is something that you can talk about on Instagram. So hey, if you haven't, go check out the Instagram. And that's my other piece of news. We're posting a lot more to the Instagram, not necessarily posts, but Instagram Reels and other posts too. Like I did some week 5 superlatives, like best offense, best defense, biggest surprise team of the week, stuff like that, best player of the week, best coach of the week, stuff like that. So go give the Instagram a follow. We're at like 73 followers. Maybe if we hit 100 by the end of the year, that'd be sick. I also might be doing some more giveaways on there as we near like the holidays and stuff. I did a giveaway last year for Christmas, so we might do that again this year. We will see. I'm excited to keep doing to use the Instagram more and to try and expand the podcast. But that's it for news of the week. Let's hop into wallet winners. Wallet winners are also always posted on the Instagram. I've been doing like daily reveals of some of just like one pick a day to kind of tease the wallet winners. So by the time this comes out on Friday, obviously I record these on Thursday. By the time this comes out on Friday, either 3 or 4 of the wallet winners will be out. So if you guys are following the podcast, or if you guys are following the Instagram, you'll see those a couple days early. So last week I went 3-2, not bad. Could have been better, but honestly, the fact that I went 3-1 on spreads is pretty good. The only one that really screwed me over. What was the spread last week that screwed me over? I remembered it, but I totally just spaced it. Oh God, what was it? I don't have my notes because last week was so unstructured. It was, don't tell me. I can't remember. I genuinely cannot remember. Whatever. It's not that big of a deal. Who cares? But yeah, I went 3-1 last week on spreads. And we're on a 2-game losing streak for the upsets as well. So it's all in the season. I'm 15-10, which is great because I didn't think I'd be that good 5 weeks in. Overall though, 12-8, not too bad. Overall essentially just means spread. But let's hop into this week's wallet winners. Number 1, like I said, these are a couple of these have already been teased. So if you've already seen these, you can fast forward through them. I totally understand. Number 1, Cincinnati is -3 going to Detroit. I actually really like Detroit. Me and JP kind of talked about this a little bit. I really do like, on last week's pod, I do like Detroit a lot. I think they're like one of the best defeated teams in the past 5 to 10 years because they've literally been in almost, if not every single, the sun's out. It was literally just snowing like crazy and now the sun's out. Welcome to Utah. They've been in every single game this season. They have a really, really, I honestly did not like Dan Campbell, but he's growing on me. He actually seems like a really, really good coach. And they have, like, Jared Goff's been so much better than I anticipated him to be coming into the season. So I do like Detroit, but Cincinnati was able to go blow for blow with Green Bay last week, even with kind of a hobbled Joe Burrow. I'm not talking about the throw. I'm talking about the injury that he had earlier into the game. And, like, I mean, I know Green Bay was missing Jair Alexander, but that defense for Green Bay is still better than Detroit's defense. But, yeah, no, I think Joe Burrow is going to be great. They're probably going to get Joe Mixon back at, like, 90%, when last week he was, like, 60%. And, I mean, Jamar Chase has been unreal. T. Higgins is likely to play this week, which I don't think he played last week. I could be wrong about that. And then Tyler Boyd as well. Like, they have really, really good pieces. That offensive line has actually been, like, a surprise for, like, the NFL, just in general this season. And that defense, like JP and I said last week, I don't know if it's a good defense or not. So I do like Cincinnati. I do like Detroit too, but 3 points is a little too small for me when it comes to Cincinnati. And I think Cincinnati wins this game 30-20. Miami is going to Jacksonville. And yeah, this is a surprise. Jacksonville is plus 3.5, which is really, really weird. Mainly because I think it's plus 3.5 because they're expecting that for Jacoby, if for some reason Jacoby plays. Now that Tua is probably the starting quarterback, this spread will probably move to like Miami -5. But I still like that. I would take Jacksonville anyways. If you want to like have a bold upset of the week, I think Jacksonville could possibly pull off the upset. And just 3.5 points is I just like Jacksonville overall in this matchup. Miami's defense has been bad. They don't have a really good defense against the run. So if Urban Meyer can pull his head out of his own ass and use James Robinson, then they'll probably have really good success in this game. They also looked good against Cincinnati last week. Trevor Lawrence has kind of been just slowly dropping the boneheaded moves, just like rookie things, nothing bad. But he's using his legs more, which is great. The offensive line is starting to mesh a lot better. It's a good offensive line too. And obviously they lost DJ Chark, but I think you're going to have growing pains a week after you lose him. Oh, wait, they didn't play Cincinnati last week. That was 2 weeks ago. Jesus. They played Tennessee last week. But yeah, I mean, the first week after you lose like one of your best wide receivers, you're going to have growing pains. So I'm going to give it to that. They're using Dan Arnold a lot. I think Dan Arnold's a really, really good player for them because they like to utilize, especially Urban Meyer likes to utilize the tight end position. So I think that there is a situation where they can easily win this game. Not easily, but they can win this game. The defense is probably where I worry about Jacksonville, which is funny because that's all they've been known for the past couple of years. But at the same time, like Tua might come back at 90%. They might not have Devontae Parker. They also they're not going to have Will Fuller. I think Gesicki is questionable. So it's literally just going to be like Jalen Waddle and Myles Gaskin and Tua. So that's going to be really hard for Miami on offense. I don't know. For me, it seems like Jacksonville's kind of put in the right situation here. For my score prediction, I don't have them winning, but I do have it covering. So I have Jacksonville 21 against Miami's 23. Seattle is going to Pittsburgh. Last year, I made like every week, I was like, we're going to do Pittsburgh. Mainly because I was superstitious because every week that I did a Pittsburgh spread, whether I got it right or wrong, we just kept winning. So I was like, this is superstitious. Why not? But the last couple of weeks, I've been doing a Pittsburgh spread, and that's just because I have liked the spreads overall. Pittsburgh's 4.5. I know I said it earlier in the pod that like this means that they're a lock to lose this game, which I still kind of do believe, but it's in Pittsburgh. It's a primetime game. It's Sunday Night Football. They kind of are in a win now situation. I think that they would be a little more lax if Baltimore had lost last week because then they'd only be a game out of the NFC North rather than 2 games because everyone would have lost last week except for them in their division. But 4.5 points, I mean, the defense is getting better. There's rumors that Stephon Tuitt could somehow be back for this game. I don't think he will be, but there's rumors. The defense is getting healthier overall, though. The defense is also finding its groove. The offensive line looked great last week against a good defense, against Denver, and a good defensive front. And you're going up now against one of the worst defenses in Seattle. So like Najee Harris could easily pop off for 95 to 100 rushing yards if the offensive line performs how it did last week. And it looks like Ben is getting a little more comfortable within the new system, and the new system is actually showing. It's not just looking like last season all over again. So I just think if Pittsburgh sticks to their game plan that they had last week, then they should be able to win this game. Not easily, because it's never easy for Pittsburgh, but I do have them winning by 6, 23-17. It's not going to be a high-scoring game because both these offenses are not going to be that good. Cleveland hosts Arizona, and Cleveland is the favorite by 3, but I'm not going with Cleveland. I'm going with Arizona +3. This could be an upset of the week as well. I basically have 3 upsets this week again, which I think 2 weeks ago I had 3 upsets. But Arizona +3, I like that. I know Kyler's hurt. That's the only reason I'm kind of hesitant about this, but like Cleveland's defense is good, don't get me wrong. I just really like the hot streak that Arizona's been on right now. And I think Arizona's defense is being criminally undervalued right now and just like underrated. I think week 1 showed us that they can actually be a really good defense. And if you can shut down Derrick Henry, then you're a good defense. So I expect them to have a very similar game plan against the Browns, because if you shut down the run game, then Baker Mayfield has to be the one to beat you. I think it's a great situation for Arizona to be in. And I think that if that is the situation, I really don't think Baker has just that, not that mentality, but he just doesn't have that talent to do that, in my opinion. They're also still, suffering from injuries. So, I mean, if I had to guess, there's going to be a lot of passing in this game. So if you have Nick Chubb in fantasy, I could be wrong, but I mean, they're probably just going to shut down Nick Chubb. And if you have Kareem Hunt, I would start him. Yeah, and I think I'm not going to talk too much about Arizona's offense because we know about it. Also, Cleveland's defense might match it. But I do have this game being really high scoring, which, like, the over-under is 52, so that's not too surprising here. I do have it kind of crushing the over-under, though. But Arizona wins this game 35-31. And then lastly, the upset of the week. I think I've done this team like every single week as well. The Baltimore Ravens host the Chargers, and Baltimore's favored. I literally only think that Baltimore's favored because it's in Baltimore. Baltimore does not have a run game, which is good for the Chargers because the Chargers are really bad at defending the run game. So if Lamar's going to be the one to beat you, obviously, he did a really, really great job last week. Really, really great job is understatement for what he did against the Colts. But if you don't have a run game, it's going to be hard because that means the Chargers can have a game plan for that. I also think Staley is really starting to find his footing now within the NFL world, like as a head coach at least. And he's a defensive guy, so he'll probably be able to game plan for this. And I also like the Chargers offense better. The Chargers offense has more weapons and it has more directions it can go. Oh, Mike Williams is being double teamed. Cool. Go to Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen and Mike Williams are both being covered really well. All right, dump it off to Austin Eckler. They're playing Austin Eckler very well as the other receivers. Okay, cool. Throw it to Jared Cook. Oh, all those guys are covered. Okay, Herbert can get out of the pocket and run downfield a little bit. Oh, what? The pass game's not working? Okay, we can go through Eckler. Like, there's so many things that this Chargers team can do offensively that I really, really like. Meanwhile, for Baltimore, it's literally, what's that? The run game's not working? Maybe we'll run out with Lamar. Oh, what's that? That's not working. Maybe we'll throw it to Hollywood Brown, who actually is having a good season. But, like, okay, if Hollywood Brown has a good game, and, like, I guess they have Mark Andrews. But for me, the offensive talent does not match up, and the Chargers are way better in that area. So I just think the Chargers, again, it's a close game, but I just think the Chargers are more talented offensively and defensively. And also Baltimore's been struggling defensively. I mean, they almost lost that game to the Colts last week. And I mean, the Colts look good, don't get me wrong, but I think the Colts might have looked good because it's Baltimore. So that's where I fall with that. Yeah, there's wallet winners. Before we leave, I kind of want to bring back But I Mean. That's one of the reasons why I only had 2 segments today, as I was thinking about it. But I was just thinking about how long this podcast episode will be, just, talking about news of the week and everything. So I didn't bring it back this week. If you guys want But I Mean back, I would love to bring it back. So let me know. Yeah, we're in a week. We're a third of the way through the NFL season. That's wild. Halloween's like 2 weeks away. This year's flying by. Yeah, not much to say. I'm just going to sit here and babble. Thanks for coming to the podcast today. If you guys are new here every single Friday at noon. Other than that, I'm going to leave this podcast here. Thank you guys so much for watching or listening, whatever you guys are doing. I'll see you guys on the next episode of the podcast.